My name is Sumesh and I'll be your instructor for this course. While we concentrate mostly on Azure Cost Optimization, the concepts that we discuss in this course can be very easily translated or applied to other clouds as well. So why are we talking about Azure Cost Optimization? Cloud is a lot of things. It is agile and fast. You can deploy resources very fast compared to the previous on-premises way of working. It is also elastic and very easy to scale. It also gives you the latest and greatest in technology at the click of a button. Cloud is a lot of things, but it is not always cheap. If cloud is cheap or an accounting nightmare will depend on how you optimize or use it. So why is cost optimization important? A lot of times I have seen customers adopt cloud without a lot of planning. They just dip their toes into cloud usage and then gradually pick up from there. And that approach doesn't have any governing principles on how to operate in the cloud. Sometimes I have seen cases where customers adopt cloud at any cost. Their priority is to move resources to the cloud so that they can maybe free up a data center or avoid renewing or avoid buying a new hardware that has gone out of warranty. Sometimes the priority is to move from a CapEx model of operating to OpEx so that your balance sheet looks much better. However, once you are in cloud without properly planning the migration, you face a different set of challenges. It is possible that you lose control of your cloud assets because it is very easy to provision new resources in the cloud and there is no central IT to manage it all. So the number of resources can get out of control very easily. And cloud is very easy to use and convenient. And it might be convenient for you to provision a larger VM or a faster type of resource and not think about cost. You're always looking for the best possible or the convenient way to get your job done. A lot of times, users have a free hand once they are given access to the cloud or subscription. If there are no governing policies in place, there is limited accountability for the user. A user can create a resource and then do some limited testing and forget about it. Sometimes the problem is not detected because of a lack of tools or lack of visibility. Enterprises haven't put in place the necessary tools to govern how to operate the cloud or to get visibility into how the resources are used or how the billing is done. It is not evident until you reach a tipping point as to which resources or which projects are eating into your budgets. Unlike your on-premise environment, there is no central authority in most cases to control it all. Lack of knowledge is also a big problem. Users who have been working in on-premises do not necessarily have a cloud mentality of working. In on-prem, you provision a resource and you can leave it idle without any impact on cost because it is already paid for. Whereas in cloud, each resource has different types of costs associated with it. And if you don't use it carefully or in the optimal manner, it can lead to budget overruns. You also have a huge selection of resources and capacities that you never had access to before. It is very uncommon to see an organization impose capacity or resource restrictions on a user. It is usually left to the wisdom of the user on what type of resource or size he wants to provision. What compounds the problem is that many users don't know how things are built in the cloud. For example, when you create a VM, there are a bunch of associated resources that is built along with the VM. For example, the storage or the IP address, etc. There are also several resources that is billed as upfront cost. Some resources are not necessarily pay as you go. Once you provision them, you are billed for an entire month or a large amount in the beginning. It could be an express route circuit or it could be a third-party marketplace offering. Now, users might be under the impression that you could provision them and stop or delete them after some time. But with these resources, even if you just run it for a minute, you end up paying for a whole month. If the cloud move is not properly planned and policies and controlling measures are not put in place, you will very quickly lose track of your resources. For example, each user might create his own VM for learning or testing purpose and just ignore it once his task is done, leaving the VM to incur cost while there is no real usage. There is no life cycle that is generally maintained in many projects, and the administrator doesn't know if the VM is still under use or if it's no longer required. So an administrator is not able to clean up an unused VM unless the necessary information is available in a tag or in some kind of CMDB. In many places, there's not enough chargeback or showback mechanisms so that the consumption or the cloud consumption can be sent back to the appropriate project so that they can reduce or control the costs. So these are some of the problems or scenarios I have seen that leads to an inflated cloud invoice.